Chapter 10, Review Exercise 3, Who's Cool at School? Who were the popular kids at your elementary school? Did they get good grades or have good looks? Were they good at sports? A study was performed to examine factors that determine social status for children in grades 4, 5, and 6. Researchers gave a questionnaire to a random sample of 478 students in these grades. One of the questions they asked was, would you most like to do at school? What would you most like to do at school? Make good grades, be good at sports, or be popular. The two-way table summarizes the students' responses. So they have their response to the question along with their gender. Construct an appropriate graph to compare male and female responses, briefly describe that relationship, and then in part B we're asked, do these data provide convincing evidence of an association? So we're going to look first at creating that graph. I'm going to use the applet for this. So using the applet, I choose two categorical variables. I type in the two-way table that we're given. So I type in the responses, the genders, and the number of students in each of those. And then I choose to make a segmented bar graph. And from this now we can actually describe, it's nicely color coordinated as well. You could do this by hand and you would just have to figure out the relative frequency or the proportions excuse me, from each males and females sports popular grades. So describing this, what I first notice is that more females chose to be popular than males, whereas more males chose sports than females chose sports. And lastly, what I see is this pink area on both are similar. So there was a similar proportion of males and females who chose grades to be most important. Part B, we're asked, does this data provide convincing evidence of an association? So we're going to complete the four-step process here. So starting with stating, so we'll state that there is no association between gender and goals, and there is an association between gender and goals. We'll use an alpha being 5% here, or 0.05. Our plan is a chi-squared test for an association. First, we are told that we have a random sample, and the large counts, all expected counts are greater than or equal to 5. Again, you can use the applet for that now that you have all of the two-way table filled in. When you choose inference, these values will come up for you, or else you can do row total times column total divided by the table total. So state plan, our next is to do. So using again the applet, I'm choosing a chi-squared test for an association. Here are the expected counts we just looked at, and now what we want to do is look at this. So the actual do step is our degrees of freedom, our chi-squared, and our p-value seems to be very small. So in our conclusion, that tells us we're going to reject HO since the p-value is less than that chosen significance level of 0.05 or 5%. So that tells us there is convincing evidence of an association between gender and goals for elementary school students.